When you design a system, you are actually making two distinct sets of decisions: how to divide up responsibilities in your code and how to deploy that code across machines. These two concerns look similar on the surface, but mixing them up causes real confusion. In this video, we untangle them clearly. The confusion usually starts with a box and arrow diagram. One person draws 3 boxes and means 3 areas of code responsibility. Another person sees the same diagram and assumes 3 separate servers. Both interpretations look identical on paper. Separating these into 2 named views, logical and physical, forces the conversation to be precise from the start. Think of a restaurant chain. The floor plan divides every location into the same logical areas. Kitchen handles cooking, dining room handles guests, bar handles drinks. That is the logical view, pure responsibility. The health permit, on the other hand, lists real addresses and physical buildings. That is the physical view. The roles never change, but how many buildings you need is a completely separate question. The logical view names your layers and assigns each one a clear responsibility. The presentation layer renders output, the business logic layer enforces rules, and the data layer persists state. The physical view describes where each of those layers actually runs at deployment time. You could run all 3 logical layers on a single laptop, that is 1 physical tier. Or you could spread them across 3 separate servers, that is 3 physical tiers. The code structure did not change, only the deployment topology did. Tracing a single request reveals how the 2 views interleave. The request starts at the presentation layer, a logical label for the code handling the user interface. When that code is deployed on a client device, crossing to the business logic means a real network hop to a separate server, that is a physical boundary appearing mid-flow. The logical layers describe what happens. The physical tiers describe where. Both are true simultaneously, and understanding both is what lets you reason about latency, failure points, and scalability. The logical view is the right tool for conversations about code, ownership, testability, and separation of concerns. It stays relatively stable across the life of a product. The physical view is what you reach for when discussing latency budgets, server costs, network security zones, and failure modes. It changes whenever your deployment strategy changes. For example, when you move from a monolith on one server to microservices on a cloud platform. Each view answers a different question, so you need both. In practice, start with the logical view. Agree on the responsibilities each layer owns before you think about servers at all. Once that is stable, turn to the physical view and ask what deployment topology your performance, cost, and security requirements actually demand. A single server deployment of a well-structured 3-layer application is perfectly valid. The number of tiers is an operations decision, the number of layers is a design decision. Keeping that distinction explicit will prevent a lot of architectural arguments. To summarize, the logical view is about responsibility, what each part of your code does. The physical view is about reality, where each part actually runs. One set of logical layers can map onto many different physical topologies, depending on your constraints. Keeping the 2 views separate, named and explicit, is one of the simplest habits that makes architectural conversations much more productive.